Welcome back to Football Manager 2024 Rebuilding Cologne. Well, good news, bad news. Good news is that we're clear from relegation and there's no way that we're going to get relegated. We're almost double in points in terms of that. But the bad news is that we were once in third place and we somehow dropped all the way to 8th place. I'll show you how that happened. After the Frankfurt game, we then beat Hoffenheim 1-0. It was very lucky at the very end. We probably didn't deserve to really win that game. It looked like it was going to be destined for a draw, and then Uth ended up scoring his first goal of the season in the 77th minute. And then we turned around and then beat Werder Bremen with a much more decisive game. Their XG was like 0.5, and we definitely destroyed them in terms of that. But I think the only thing that really cost us was just a terrible pass that resulted in their only goal. We then turned around and played against Stuttgart, which they just handed it to us 3-0. Nothing really, no positives other than Curly at a 7.0 is the only thing that I can say good about that. We then ended up playing a game that even the one goal that we scored wasn't that great. We did play away from home, 50,000 attendance. We did lose the Rhine Derby as well. Boniface has been definitely someone who's destroyed us in the past. But Hubbard's getting a 7.2. Even Telly getting to play most of the game anyways was pretty good for us. Those are only the real positives. But the fact that we find ourselves towards the bottom and we have to face Augsburg, Leipzig, and Borussia there. Those are big games for us, and the Augsburg one could send us down to 9th place instead of 8th, and even the Leipzig one, like there's a very good chance for these games that we can get a result here, and Borussia is definitely going to be asking for a win here. This will send them to the top of the table, but as you can see, Leverkusen and even Munich and Dortmund do not look like they stand a chance at winning this season. Looks like it's between Frankfurt and Borussia, and we definitely would rather Frankfurt win despite us losing to them. But even for us, implication-wise, 51 million would go to 7th place, and then around 50, I believe, between between 8th and probably 15, if I'm not mistaken, unless it really retro pays from that. But we do have the youth intake coming up as well, so that is going to be an exciting focus. But let's jump to the game, and then let's hope that we can get a result, and hopefully you don't go 3 straight losses here. And here's our squad for the game. We have Schwab in net, Finkraft, Killian, Hubbers, and Cartizan as our back line. Hussein, Basic, and Martel are going to start for defensive mid. Mania and Thielman are going to start for our wingers. We have Selke and Waldschmidt that are going to end up starting there. Waldschmidt is a little bit injured. He did pick up a knock. We also do have our top player, Shabbat, who is a little bit unhappy with us because we got rid of a player that wasn't playing for us anyways. So yeah, that is what it is. But this is the team that we're going to start with. Uth will probably come in towards the end, but he is 32. One of the guys that I definitely want to get rid of in the off season. But we are away from home as well, so the expectation isn't really to win this one. It's just to make it competitive, I guess. But a draw would be very, very good for us. We have been rotating as many players as possible, but we do have a decent amount of difficult games coming up, and a lot of them that mean a lot more than what necessarily just 3 points mean. It's also 3 less points for other teams as well. But this would just be more of a bragging rights. It'd be very good if we could ruin their season. And already Selke injured, but we're going to ignore that because Waldschmidt's the one that has to come off. And we need our best players to start this one. And we go down 1-0. So be it. We go down 12 minutes in. And his first ever goal was scored against us. I always hate that stat. That is always something that makes me upset. But we don't move in terms of position. Oh, actually we do. We just moved down to 8th place. So making it a little bit more difficult for us to even qualify for European competition. But that hasn't been the goal this whole season. And Thielman is upset as well. But 16 minutes, and doesn't look like we're really going to contest them that much. Waldschmidt with it, And this counter is probably going to end very, very soon. Mania now with it. Let's see if we can get a shot at least on target. Mania loses it. That is so disappointing. Not much else on that. Dennis now with the corner here. And Selke almost getting it on target, but still only that one shot on target. But XG-wise, doesn't look too promising so far. The only good thing is that Osberg is at least tied with Heidenheim. And yeah, we're still in 8th place there. But a tie might put us above Leipzig. But we already know that that game against Leipzig is going to be one of the most important games of the season. Because it's going to mean the difference between a couple $1 million for sure. Well, actually, probably tens of millions of dollars, because I think the Conference League would put us up there as well. And it would definitely fix some of the issues that we're having. Despite us not even paying that much for wages, it's just all the other things, the debt, everything else, it does affect us in that way. Especially with no extra income every single week from other European competitions. But and the fact that we're still in a transfer embargo, they haven't lifted that yet. I wonder at what point do they actually revise it. And Kane now with it. There seems like a decent amount of Japanese players, though, I find in this in German league as well. Even our affiliate is a Japanese team, and we've sent some people on loan, and their facilities are actually pretty good. Feels that one thing that they could do to fix it would be, or to help with other things as well, would be for you to be able to kind of rebuild your affiliates as well. So like kind of pick one and be willing to invest money in their facilities and all that kind of stuff like that. So you do have a good chance at bringing in better players, I guess, from your team and other teams as well. But definitely giving your players better training facilities as well, which would be pretty cool. And I don't think it would really cost that much, but it would be like one of those suggestions that you could offer for your teams and just kind of build that bond between them, I guess. But I know affiliates can they can always cancel things if they end up becoming too big. But and it does look like we're at least in their own half though. And it does look like they've kind of scaled back. I don't know why we're positive. I did switch that to balanced, or to cautious actually. Just more so that we could focus on counterattacks, but I'm going to probably switch that at half. Granted, we are playing pretty well at it. And we do need a goal, but I feel as though counter is probably the best approach for us. More of a cautious approach than anything. But I feel as though goal differential, we're actually in a decent spot, I would say. But still shocking that both the two teams that are struggling in real life are actually struggling on here as well. But surprising to not see another team kind of claim top spot there. But since this is a rivalry game, we won't. I guess Selke's. Oh no, Selke can still play. What injury do you have though? Potential foot injury. Fine. Uth will come on for him, and that is that. We'll just ignore everything else now. Kirodia, damn it. Kirodia is on that team as well. I doubt that we'll be able to get him at some point. We didn't end up paying much for him, but the fact that he is starting on for them in Season 1 is pretty promising. And I did just see that anyone that pays attention to Loot and Save, Diamande is wanted by Arsenal as well, which, I mean, they're a couple seasons too early. No, I'm kidding. But he is definitely one of the biggest transfers that we'll probably end up seeing. He'll probably end up going to a big club over the next couple seasons. Most likely not us. I highly doubt that we'll be able to afford him in a couple seasons' time. And we almost go down 2-0, but a good tackle, and I mean very efficient in terms of when they tackle. We haven't surrendered too many penalties, if any, that I've seen so far. We've only had one. That was very close to making me eat my words right there. But yeah, we've only gotten 1 or 2 penalties, I think, throughout the season. But not too many in German football, I will say that. And we do concede another corner. Honorat with it, and this is probably a goal here. Turns away. Itakura now with it to nets. And we just got to get the ball back. Come on, guys. Omlin, I've never heard of that goaltender either. And then Kanye with it. Looks like this is tailor-made for them to score here. Oh, we do get it back, though, surprisingly. Thielman now with it to Uth. And looks like this is a decent counter here. Waldschmidt can finish it. Oh my god, he can't. He cannot finish it, and that is just utterly disappointing. And then Dennis with the corner here, and nothing ends up happening on that. Hubbard's now with it to Martel. Martel with a shot, but Omlin ends up taking care of that, no problem. And we're about to approach 60th minute, which means that we're definitely going to start making our other substitutions. Probably 2 substitutions if I had to guess. It does suck that Thielman is getting a little tired as well. Waldschmidt looks like he should be able to play the whole game, though. So I don't know why they're saying only 75 minutes. Maybe that they want him to play midfield or something, which is a suggestion that our assistant coach has done over the last little while. Prioritizing Uth and, oh dear God. And that was just an easy goal. And looks like that's probably our cue to make our substitutions. Thielman in danger of losing discipline. Let's change things up a little bit. Thielman is on the right side. Let's bring him in. Let's go through a 3-striker front. I know it's not going to really mean much. And Mania, I don't even know what else he can play. He can play center, but I kind of don't want him to play there. Let's put someone else. And I guess Dennis. Dennis could play up there for now. Then we'll swap Christensen there. Kind of go more defensive there, and then we'll probably end up switching it after in a little time. Balde, I don't think, can play anything else. I mean, he can play right mid if we do decide to kind of expand that way, but we're going to try something a little bit new. Let's take off Hubbard's, let's put in Chabot, just to have a stronger defensive player there. We're not even going to look at that. Of course, we want to switch because we just did it. And Osberg tied with Hoffenheim. It looks like that's the final result. And we're probably going to put in our youth after this, most likely. Thielman apparently not very happy, but it is what it is. We will demand more here, see if that fixes anything. And probably at 70th minute is when we'll start making our subs. Martel looking like he needs to come off as well. That's going to be one of them. If we have, I think we have Zimmerman that can probably play there. And then Dennis with the ball, but ends up losing it. Or does a terrible shot there, actually. Kuriodia with it. Itakura. And Honorat as well. We're not playing that great, I will say. We do have a decent amount of shots, but nothing really too commanding there. And, oh, I guess Hassan can play here as well. So that's one of them, and then Thielman looks like he's getting tired, so we'll put Teague in, and that's the end of that. And it looks like we're destined to lose this game. I think we ended up tying the first time that we end up facing them. And not enough pressure, I will say. Giving him a little bit too much space. And, I mean, that kind of worked in our favor. Carson now with it, clears it away. And somehow it went to a corner and then it went back to that. That's kind of weird. And then Plea with it and offside. So not too bad. Yeah, and then I guess it just advanced to that corner. That's so weird. And then Dennis now with it, and Chabot can't quite get his head to it. But it still is on their half, which could suggest that they're going to make a deep run here. We are going to be exposed on our wings in this formation, that's for sure. But it has worked out in the past. That was a terrible tackle for Karzan, and it looks like we're going to have to pay for it. And we end up turning that one away. Schwab ends up taking it. to the corner there. And then Hodder now with it. Tarzan now with a semi-okay clearance. Waldschmidt just kicks it up and then runs after it. Not the kind of level that you'd expect in the Bundesliga, that's for sure. And then Omlin now with it. Kirodia, who we will still try and get at some point in the save. I really do want him again. Just the versatility and the fact that he's a strong center back. And then Waldschmidt gets it. That's amazing, but it looks like it might be offside. This would be the first time that I've seen an offside called or overturned here for us. And disallowed, yeah. Of course it's disallowed. Being the first time that has happened for us, but I'm not denying that he was offside. Yeah, by a healthy margin. But it's the first time that I've seen them have to review it. But it's still a good finish, I will say that. We just got to add the pressure here, guys. Scally now with it. And we just got to get back. I'm surprised they're not exposing us more on the wing, though. But I do have confidence in Fingraf, at least on the left side there. He has suffered a bit of injuries throughout the season. But he is still 19, I believe. Maybe even 20 now. And we get exposed somehow through the middle. That's where we're stacked with everyone. But yeah, somehow we get taken over from that perspective. Turns away by Christensen. They still have the ball. 75 minutes in, and I'm surprised that we haven't seen more highlights on us. They are asking for a goal here. 15 shots, 5 on target. So at least we're not playing boring soccer by any means. But it looks like it's getting towards the end, and our team's not producing the way that we need them to. But they have 9 shots on target. So Schwab only has 6.8. I would say he should obviously be higher than that, considering the fact that he's turned away so many. And Kierith with it, and looks like I almost spoke too soon. Schwab ends up taking it off the hands, for corner here. And I can't help think that the fact that we had a positive mentality the whole game is probably what was our undoing. Feels as though if we took a more cautious approach, we should have been fine. We turned that away too. We're playing decent towards the end when it doesn't really matter though. And I'm really hoping that everyone's not going to be too tired for the next game. Because that Leipzig game is going to be big. Same thing with Augsburg. I feel as though both those games are going to be pretty instrumental at how the season unfolds. But with Augsburg tying against Hoffenheim, I do like our chances to be able to beat them when we end up playing them. Just as long as there's not too many games congested, which has been very difficult when we've had the extra games. We definitely been hurting through that. So we do lose this game. As long as we don't get relegated, right? That was what the expectation was. Whatever. Yeah. It is what it is. There's nothing we can really do. The worst part is the fact that they go top of the table. But Frankfurt only beat Hoffenheim 1-0. And then Bayern looks like they're finally starting to move in the right direction. But at our expense as well. And Leipzig, I guess Leipzig played before that, because I don't really see them there. And oh no, they're playing one more game actually, so we might even be their game in lieu right now. Definitely gonna have to rebound from that. So that's three straight losses, and we'll see which comes first, our next game or our youth intake. But hopefully, either one, it's a positive, because we really need it at this point. And it looks like the youth intake is going to be the first thing that ends up happening. We do have a defensive midfielder and a striker as elite talents. A Macedonian, Ivanov, looks pretty good, just in terms of his finishing as well. 6 foot tall. I don't see his heading. Heading 6, and then his long shots is pretty good as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting retrained as a possibly as a attacking midfielder as well. Stoop, I always hate these things, but I don't really mind paying him that much anyways. And then Albin Hoxa, who's defensive midfielder, lighthearted, promising, center back actually. He is 5'11" though, so maybe he doesn't end up featuring that much as center back. Unflappable, decent though, and can improve a lot. But he is currently our 15th best player, so we'll take that into consideration. But I think he's going to develop pretty well. He is obviously only 15. And I guess we can kind of tell whether or not his height ends up growing throughout that as well. But even top talents, we do have another goalie as well. We seem to be pumping a lot of those. Determination's pretty high. I do like that. Zafer Tuncer sounds like he could be Turkish as well. And he is. He's Turkish as well. Determination's pretty high. He is 6'1". Obviously, we're going to sign him. We need to sign all the players that we can get, considering we probably will still be in transfer embargo next season, and definitely need all these players as well. Going all the way down to good talent as well. Eisen Manger seems still pretty decent, so even the guys that don't look as great off the top still don't look too bad. And it looks pretty promising for at least the years to come as well. The decent talents are the ones that we're going to probably ignore. A decent amount of versatility, though. There are a lot of German players as well, but I do like Robert Kovacs. We are going to need a right back. Anticipation and bravery, pretty decent there as well. Fairly professional. He's 15 as well, so a lot of 15-year-olds in this. As I say that, there's a 16-year-old that just ends up popping up here. Jürgen Light looks pretty good. He's clearly German. Yeah, German, and I guess from Rhine, Germany, so locally at least. And we are already his favorite club, so that's pretty good. And I guess he's going to sign a youth contract, so I don't mind that at all. Eunice looks pretty good. 6 foot tall. I mean, it's surprising that their heading's not that much, but his dribbling's pretty good, so I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I was going to say attacking mid. Seems like he's more destined to play than necessarily a striker. Just take off all these. I don't know why they need any signing bonuses as well. Nico Kraft. Nico Kraft looks very good. I'm actually more excited about this guy. 6 foot tall. His marking's pretty good. His tackling's pretty good. We might reevaluate it in a month and probably bring him up, actually. Did want a 15% yearly wage increase, though. And yeah, Kovacs is definitely going to play for us as well. And yeah, I guess he was born in Hungary, but he has German descent as well. So I think in terms of having a percentage of players being German, that's definitely going to work in our favor. It does want a 600,000 release clause, which obviously we're not going to do. Pierre Haller now, who doesn't look good. I guess positioning and teamwork are pretty good, but everything else looks very, very average. But, I mean, they are saying that he can improve a lot, but only a half-star current ability, so... And it looks like, yeah, he's just going to sign a youth contract first. And then we'll probably... I guess we'll sign these guys as well. Andreas Eisenmanger, I believe that's how you probably say his name. And it looks like he's straight from Germany. He can understand basic English, which is good for us. Casual personality. I mean, I do like that somewhat. Determination very, very low, though. I do not like that at all. But it'll be interesting to see if determination can change over time, or how drastic it will happen once he gets older. And then Manfred Schindler. I thought he was a goalkeeper at one point, but 5'8", so low center of gravity, pretty decent. He's not fast. Stamina's pretty bad as well. His decision, determination, and leadership, and passing and long shots are definitely areas to focus on. But I mean, I don't mind him. I feel as though he might actually surprise us. Schindler is probably going to be one of those guys to pay attention to. And then also Tillman Herrenbrock. Only 5'10" though, left back. Does say he's center back as well, but I'm gonna assume that he's probably more of a left back fitting, especially his acceleration. His natural fitness is pretty good. His pace is decent, and decisions are there as well. 15, so I do like that as well. And I did a quick click there as well. But these are the players that we're probably not going to keep unless our assistant says that we should. His natural fitness is actually pretty high. So maybe we do, but he is 16 currently. Does like us as his favorite personnel. Could improve a lot. I mean, You know what? Let's do it. I do like the natural fitness. I'd probably scout that out anyways. So we'll keep him. We'll take a look at the other undesirables, I guess, is what you would call them. Langenbrime. I mean, his aggression's high, but that's about it. Determination's around 10, work rate's okay. Yeah, we're going to leave that. See if our assistant wants him. And then we have Deckelman. Acceleration's pretty decent. He is 15 as well. His flair is pretty decent. Low determination though. And yeah, currently 10th best. Probably low at the bottom. And then we'll take a look at, I guess, Deckelheim. Is that who we were looking at just now? Yeah, his flair's 14. It's probably the same guy. Svela, who has decent flair, low self-belief, so that's going to be a project. Norwegian as well. And I mean, currently worst player at the left mid position there. And Bervingovich, you know what? This guy actually looks pretty good. Fairly loyal. I do like that as well. You know, I'm going to take a shot on this guy for sure. Feels though he's going to kind of get ignored though. We'll take a closer look at him as well. But he looks, like for any stat nerds, he definitely looks pretty good in terms of that. There's a decent amount that is to like, I guess, passing, teamwork, off the ball. So definitely very fitting towards that position. And even for mid in general. But more of an advanced playmaker. His agility is pretty good. He's not necessarily the fastest. But you know that could always improve. We'll only have him for one season, but I feel as though once we get him in, our scouts will take a better look at him and definitely like him a little bit more than what necessarily the early stats are going to go for him. So let's jump to the next game, and then hopefully we can build on this youth intake and maybe even feature one of them and see if we can actually take down Augsburg. Here's our squad for the Augsburg game. We are going to go more of a balance, not to positive, but more or less pretty much the same that we normally go with Martel and Christensen in the mid, and then Thielman and Mania as our wingers, and then Selke and Waldschmidt's going to get the nod instead of Uth. Even though Uth has been playing somewhat decent recently, I'd still rather him come off from the bench anyways, and kind of change a little bit of it up as well. I do kind of want to put in Curly if we can, so let's put him... take off someone else. Maybe Gother. Yeah, he's not doing as great. We're gonna bring you back down to under 19 though. We'll do that. So now we don't have anyone on our bench there. So everyone's just gonna end up starting, or I guess on our second team in our first team. So hopefully we can get a result here. We did bump down in terms of positions, so it's a battle right now for I guess 9th place. And I don't know how well Augsburg's been doing lately, but we'll see everything pretty soon when it ends up popping up, and we'll address it when that ends up happening. Rather take a balanced approach than a positive. Yeah, so Wolfsburg ended up bumping up ahead of us, and then so we definitely need this, but the gap is definitely widening for the European spot there as well. We end up losing to Leipzig 2-1, and that's pretty much what ended up happening for that game. You guys didn't really miss much. We did concede a very embarrassing goal, I would say, and that's the reason why we ended up going down 2-1. We were fighting throughout the most part of it, so I'm not even going to be upset about that, but I do know that they were upset that we weren't changing around our tactics more often than not, but we have done it in the past, so I don't know why we're getting singled out for that game. But obviously, when you win, they don't care. But when you end up losing, they end up saying that you don't experiment. So it is what it is. But here we are. We're gonna hopefully make those changes that we need to, and I mean maybe even get them on a counter or something like that. Waldschmidt now with it. End of the Height's probably gonna be very soon, and just terrible passing all around. But like I said, we're expected to be more of a relegation side than a team battling for Europe, but. It's more so the funds that would really help us a lot more, but we still got to focus on youth and developing them. And some of our guys that are on loan look pretty good to be able to play for us next season. So we end up liking that as well. I think one of our goalies might actually end up beating out Schwab for top spot. So meaning we probably get rid of Schwab especially since he's a little bit older as well, but I know it doesn't matter, the same with goalies. That was a very aggressive tackle there. I'm surprised that he didn't get caught there. But if we end up losing on that, that will be very disappointing all around. Mania now with it to Christensen. Good play there. Fincraft's been good at the beginning of the season, but we haven't seen much of him as of late, I would say. And Selke can't quite put his head on that one very well. And almost do concede a goal there, but it gets deflected for a corner, so we'll take that. And only 15 minutes in, it seems like there's been a considerable amount of highlights despite that. We haven't had a shot on target yet, so we definitely want to fix that. I thought Walshman was going to lose that there. Manian then loses it right after. Fingraf gets it to Chabot, and Fingraf finding Mania this time again. And Mania is wanted by clubs as well, but if he ends up shooting like that, we will definitely let him go as well. And the gap is just widening between us and 7th place, though. Especially with a tie here would probably be terrible, and then a loss here would be absolutely devastating. And with defensive play like that, we can easily see that we might be a little bit more worried for that loss. Walschmidt with the free kick, finding Mania. Mania can't get it on target once again, and it just gets cleared away. XG is higher, but not one shot on target is very worrisome. And then Bochum is beating Darmstadt as well, or Darmstadt. Darmstadt in real life is a bottom of the league team, and I mean, they look like they might actually not get relegated this season, which would have been good if, again, if we didn't have the transfer ban, we would have been able to sign some of the players that are going down. So I kind of would rather that Darmstadt ends up getting relegated, because I don't think they have anyone that we want. But obviously Warner. Oh, actually, they're dropping down now. Hoffenheim would be the other team that I wouldn't mind having players end up getting relegated from. And let's change this up. Let's hope for a goal here for us. We do play relatively more, not defensively sound, but we don't score too many goals. We score them in bunches. So we'll score one. We'll have a bunch of 1-0 wins, and then we'll have like a 4-0 or 4-1 win, and then we'll end up going on like a losing streak. So very inconsistent, I would say. But the fact that we have 2 strikers and we can't seem to get goals is kind of like shocking, I would say. Cartizan now with it, loses it like with no pressure, just kicks it right at him. We end up getting it back. Christensen then with it, and then can't even put it on target with absolutely no pressure on him. And it looks like Cartizan's gonna have to get subbed off. We'll put in Augustin there, and I mean Thielman. I'd rather Thielman up top, to be honest. Let's put Thielman up top. Take out Selke. I can't stand that guy. We'll put in, I guess, Uth for now, because he's the only one that can play on the right there. But let's take a closer look at what positions they play better. We'll do attacking there, and we'll do deep lying support and see if that does anything. And we'll shout demand more here, because we just got our first shot on target, and I mean Osberg hasn't really tested us too much. They want that as another sub, but I do feel as though I might kind of ignore that as well. Mania's nervous, so we'll put Asan in it. I guess Baldi could have come in as well, but Asan, actually maybe Asan comes here. We'll put on Baldi. Baldi we haven't played nearly enough because he's been injured, and we only have 1 sub left. Really hoping it can be a youngster that ends up coming in for that. Maybe Telly, maybe someone else, but I mean, we'll go more very attacking here. 80th minute, probably 85th is when we'll make that other sub. Thielman tired as well, so we might take him off. If I put in Teague and he ends up scoring, I'm going to laugh hysterically. And we almost concede there. Augustin ends up heading it away. We'll make our other sub here now. Looks like Thielman's going to be the one that has to come off. We'll put in Teague. Teague at a, pressing forward. It seems like that's it's good enough for him. I don't think he's really done anything all season, so this will be big for him. And they end up getting an injury. I'm just wondering if that means that they didn't sub him for anyone. So he might be one guy extra on the field here. Hassan now with it. And Hassan's been relatively quiet as well. Again, I think he's had a couple injuries at the wrong time, and we focus more on players that we can guarantee that are going to be here next season. So with Dennis and such. And Finkraf with it. Come on, cross it in. Get the corner. Let's take a look at... I guess we can't do it. I was going to say, let's take a look at what their formation is and see if they actually are a man down. Their striker's still in it, though, despite being semi-injured. And Hubbers gets that, but it looks like it's going to be a corner. Looks like it was a foul, too, so I don't know what that's all about. But 5 minutes extra time, and yeah, it does look like they didn't sub it for anyone. And this whole time they've been playing a man down. Obviously, they're going to be killing the clock here. And turns away. Schwab with it. And it looks like this is going to be a 0-0 game. We do have it here. It looks like it's probably going to be one of the last plays of the game. Now, either we end up going on a run here or we end up losing it pretty cheaply. But Martel with it. Hasn't really done anything since we've extended his contract, though. My God. That is the kind of play that we have, guys. That was so bad. I want to know what his first touch is, because that was embarrassing. Dahlman now just going to kill time, and they're happy. They are absolutely ecstatic to get the tie here. And I got to see what his first touch is, because it's a lie. His first touch is 13. I'm calling BS on that one. The only good thing is that he's at least valued at higher than what we got him for. But that kind of stuff is so embarrassing to end up seeing. Oh, so disappointing. It does bump us up to 8th place, though. So we are at least comfortably there. As long as we didn't lose to Augsburg, I feel as though that was probably the win here. And then Wolfsburg, we are at least ahead on goal differential. But Borussia Dortmund and Leipzig are within striking distance. Bayern is now starting to be comfortably in the top 4, though. But we'll take a look at the games that we're going to come back for. We're going to probably come back for the Bayern Munich game, because that one's going to matter. And then we'll come back for the Heidenheim. So we'll come back within 1 game rest for the next episode. The Bochum game, and then we'll come back for the Heidenheim for the last game. So only, 7 games left in the season. And, I mean, if we can get probably 14 points from that, that would be probably the best case scenario. Even 12 points would probably put us comfortably, but there's not much of a difference between a lot of the bottom teams as well. So bottom half, 30, 26, 25, 20, and then those guys are pretty comfortably there. Mines might also drop down as well. But we'll see that for next episode. So hopefully you guys like this. Leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and thank you for watching. Until next time.